Welcome to LOA Today. I'm Walt Thiessen here with life coach and energy coach Linda Armstrong. Today is Friday. It's April the 12th, 2019, 4 p.m. in New York. It's 1 p.m. in Los Angeles. It's 9 p.m. in London. Sydney, Australia is around, I think it's 6 a.m. if I do my calculations right. Hey, wherever you are in the world, thank you for joining us for another episode of LOA Today, your daily dose of happy. And I'm happy that we are coming into doing this show that has the best listenership, believe it or not. We have more listeners listening to this show than any of the other shows we do during the week. But I have to admit, Linda, I'm also glad that we're coming to the end of the week because I'm tired. It's been quite a week.
Yeah.
So, you take the good, right? But, oh boy, sometimes it's been quite a week. How's your week been?
Pretty good. I was actually sick a bit this week, so I'm purging
Oh,
something.
well,
It's okay. I got rid of the
I'm glad
sore
you're
throat
better.
in one day
Ooh, like that.
because I just went in and I was just with it and allowed it, and then it just passed. But
Yep.
now I seem to have a little bit of a cold. Um, so yeah, other than that, good.
Okay. Well,
How about you?
what we're going to do, we'll put out there like a group energy. We'll send a whole bunch of group energy your way so you can really heal that throat up fast. So everybody just focus on Linda. Lots of love and energy. How have I been? Like I was telling everybody before we started, and even toward the beginning of the cast here, it's been an interesting week. It's been a crazy week. Um, just lots of things happening, lots and lots of things happening. And sometimes I have to admit, even before the afternoon podcast today, I had reached a point where I was kind of stressed out, and I just had to take that moment and do something that I normally don't do during the day. I actually did a little meditation during the day just to calm myself down, just to bring
Yeah,
myself
good.
down. In fact, at one point I was sitting with my wife in the living room. She was looking at something on her computer, and I was holding my head like this, just trying to just calm myself. She looks over. She says, "What's the matter? Are you okay?" She thought I was like having a massive headache or something like that. And I was just going, "No, I'm just trying to calm down. I'm just trying to center," because
Huh.
things had gotten out of control, and I just needed to get myself back in that good feeling place. And it worked. It worked, which is the really important thing. So
Well, what's kind of interesting about that is I was shuffling up when we first came on, and I
yeah.
got this card that says combustion.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, and
Nice
then you're
image
telling
there
your
too.
story. So I'm gonna read what it says, and we'll
Okay.
see if it applies
Yeah.
to what you were just saying.
Okay.
It says, boy, that's weird. The glass is made it worse. That's never happened before.
They're not supposed to do that.
Oh, you know why? And I felt funny because look, it broke.
Oh no.
Okay, no wonder why. It was one eye good, one eye not good. So
Yeah.
it
Okay.
says, I can read it though. It says, when a flame touches a piece of paper, it flares up, and for a moment, it is awe-inspiring and alive. Gradually, the flame dies down until it extinguishes itself. The vibration of combustion is short-lived. Stop and consider other options before setting light to something and destroying it.
Hmm.
If you don't acknowledge this, you will incinerate and obliterate everything you love and trust in life.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay.
So, does that hit you in any particular way based on what you were just saying?
Well, parts of my week felt combustible, so that might be part of it. There were times when, I just had to just stop. I mean,
Yeah.
because you know how it is. You can get to a point where you start to boil over, or you start to just kind of feel like you're shaking out of control or something. And that happened a couple times, but I was able each time to just kind of stop, slow down, not worry about the fact that I just gotten up to go to the kitchen to get something to eat and come back to find that the cat had taken my chair. Little things like that that were just like starting to set me
Yeah.
off because I was kind of out of alignment.
So,
But
I mean, it did say that it's like short-lived. This combustion is short-lived,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Oh yeah.
But yeah, but that one part about, and this speaks to somebody else in the audience though, about uh, stop and consider other options before setting light to something and destroying it.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that could be something to ponder. Like, yeah,
It's almost, well, it kind of sounds like something that when you're setting light to it, well, it can go one of two ways. You're setting light to it because you do definitely want to destroy it, and it's the card is suggesting, well, before you do that, think twice. Or it
Right.
could be something you're setting light to and you don't realize it's going to destroy. You think it might be helping in some way, and all of a sudden it's producing the opposite kind of result. It could
Yeah.
go either way, really.
So actually, what I like about what you said prior to that card was that you just had to stop and like meditate and just recollect.
Oh, yeah.
Recollect yourself, right?
Hmm.
And that's a huge thing because I was working with one of my clients today who used to have anxiety, and now she doesn't anymore.
Good.
After working with her for a while, because she's actually learned how to stay and come into her own peace and not
Mm.
be pulled apart and pulled out and get tangled up in other drama outside of her.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
There's lots of
yeah,
opportunity for that, too.
yeah.
I mean, it's not like we lack drama. There's plenty of drama in life. You
If
can
you
get
want
into
it,
it
it's
anytime
there.
you want. Yeah,
But
oh, yeah.
some people though are addicted to drama.
Oh,
Those are
tell me about
people who want to hold on to their stories, who
it.
just,
Yes.
no matter what, it's like they're like, I can't be healed. Okay, you can't be healed. You just told the
Yep.
universe, because they want to hold on to, um, it's familiar, even if it's a miserable thing, some part of it they're not ready to give up.
Oh,
Otherwise,
yeah.
they could just give it up.
And we know for a fact that what you say is absolutely correct. Life is full of drama, and it's popular. Drama is very popular. I mean, it's popular in the entertainment realm. Everything,
Yeah,
almost everything in the entertainment realm is drama based in one way or another, and people can't eat up enough of it.
right.
So, yeah, it's big. It's really big. Nasha tuned in and she's been saying hello and so forth. And she says she's in Dubai. And I had to share the comment that she put in after that. She says, "The world is our playground." I thought that was great. The world
Yeah,
is our playground. What a wonderful comment. I really like that a lot. And she says she's been manifesting a whole bunch of really good things, she says.
very good.
Since the 4th of August, things have been wonderful in manifestation mode. Cool. Hey, that's great. That's wonderful news.
The 4th of August, like last year.
Apparently, that's what she wrote for August. So that's a good long run. Can't
Yeah.
go wrong with that one, I'm telling you. So let's see, what do we talk about today? I mean, Fridays are always a day where we kind of go off in interesting,
Yeah,
tangents and directions and so forth.
right.
And so I don't know.
So why don't I pick another card? I'm going to pick from the Wisdom Oracle deck,
Oh, okay. Wisdom of the
and we'll
Oracle.
see if there's something.
Oh, Nasha corrected. She says 4th of April, not 4th of August. Okay.
Yeah,
That's all
I
right.
had a feeling. All right, so we'll
Well,
see what the Wisdom Oracle has to talk about, and I mean, there's that thing of the combustion too, like maybe that's a topic in itself right there. But let's get another card, see if we can expand on it.
okay. Okay.
Yeah. Woo, that one kind of went flying. Oh, a deep knowing in the upright position.
Okay. Deep knowing. What was
Okay.
that? Show that picture again.
It's an owl. It's an owl sitting on top of, I guess
Oh, it's an owl. Oh, okay. I
maybe
couldn't
that's
think
the
of what
man
that
in the
was.
moon. Is that a face in the moon?
Yeah, that could be. Okay.
But then there's another moon behind it. So
Yeah, I'm not sure why that is, but I just couldn't make out what that figure is. An owl. Okay.
a deep knowing. So that's like an inner knowing. So let's see what it is. 43.
Okay.
Oh, 43 must be. Oh, here it is. I opened to it. Okay, so deep knowing. So the essential meaning is intuition, listening to the oracle within, empathy, and hypersensitivity. Now, all of that could kind of tie into the combustion thing too, right? Because
That's
sometimes,
true.
yeah, totally. Um, and I would say in ways where you're not actually tapping in and listening to what's in there and allowing this drama outside to have you have this explosion or something or other.
Hmm.
But we'll see.
Hmm.
So the rest of this says intuition is the faculty that allows you to enter into a dialogue with source, the consciousness that you are a part of but cannot see with the naked eye. It's perplexing that people are taught to ignore the natural capacity to navigate their journey to access their inner guidance. Yeah, amen to
Hmm.
that statement. Okay, know that you have an ability to read between the lines and to find all the truth that was missing when the story was told. The deep knowing allows you to open the door to wisdom far greater than what is available in your limitations of human experience. You're given, you're given information that may not make no sense whatsoever to the logical mind or five senses, but which is 100% correct and true. Something that's been coming up a lot lately with people I've been working with and stuff is, and things to download them, is knowing beyond knowing. It's this
Mm-hmm.
deeper connection with the intuition. And to
Mm-hmm.
sometimes, like a lot of times when that energy comes through when I'm working with someone, I almost can't find words for it, but I'm trying to find words for it so I can at least let that person kind of know what this energy
Right.
is that's flowing. And a lot of times it's more of a knowing beyond knowing. It's hard to find actual words for.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it says the trick is to listen and then to act accordingly. You're now invited into this sacred dialogue of deep knowing. So tune in and trust your vibes. They will be right. Ask and you will receive answers from unusual sources. So it brings up another thing for me too, and I've seen it with a few people I've been working with. And I really want them to really understand this. It's again that knowing beyond knowing. When you just feel something and you can't even say why you feel that way. Or
Mm-hmm.
maybe there's nothing in the way that maybe that person reacted or that situation took place that logically would dictate this kind of a feeling you're getting from it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's because intuitively you can pick up on far more than just the words. You can pick up on the energy.
Oh yeah.
And we're always talking about energy, right? So,
Right.
so far I'm taking all of this as that deep knowing without even knowing what it is that you know.
It's a good point because I mean there are times when I have attributed nonverbal information to body language. But really what you're saying there in that card and in your evaluation of it is that body language, so called, is also a received energetic message.
Yeah,
It's not just body language. It's more than
right.
body.
And I guess because there's so much evidence that a certain gesture usually holds a certain energy, there's a science behind that too. People who read body language,
Hmm. Right.
right?
Yeah.
Um, but the body's given a cue, whereas you don't even need the body to give the cue to actually really feel the energy,
Hmm. Okay.
right?
Okay.
And that's getting more into that knowing beyond knowing.
All
It's like
right.
when someone says one thing and you're like, I know they don't mean that. They look like they mean it, but I
Yeah.
know they don't mean that. How do you know
Yeah.
that? I don't know how I know that, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Subtle cues of some kind. Yeah. Well, there was a part that you read about a paragraph back, and I can't remember exactly how it was worded, but I wanted to kind of recapture that. It was something like not you get the signal, but you don't know what it means. That was kind of what it
is
said.
it
Can you find that part?
know that you have the ability to read between the lines and find all the truth that was missing when the story was told?
That may have been it. Yeah.
A deep
That may have
knowing
been it.
allows you to open the door to wisdom far greater than what is available in the limitations of human experience.
Yeah.
I'm pretty much reading over a bunch of this. You're given information that may make no sense whatsoever to the logical mind or five
That's the
senses,
one.
but which is 100% correct and true. The trick is to listen to them and act accordingly. You're now being invited into this sacred dialogue of deep knowing. So tune in and trust your vibes. They will be right. Ask and you will receive answers from unusual sources. Now, there's,
I mentioned that. I asked you to read that part again because that one line where it said that it makes no sense to the senses or whatever it said there.
right, the
I,
five
I've had
senses.
I've had a number of instances where that's happened in the last week or two, and each
Yeah,
time I'm getting more and more practiced at just going with whatever it is. And meanwhile, my mind is saying, "What the bleep is going on here? I don't get this. I don't get.
you,
And why am I
because
following this route? I don't understand."
Walt, you totally cracked open, and you cannot. It's like that egg cannot go back together again. It's been opened,
Apparently, yeah.
and so it's just expanding. So there's more. There's this. There now. There's a relationship message to this card of deep knowing,
Oh,
and it
okay.
says there are occasions when you just know deep in your heart and soul that a person is going to play a meaningful role in your life. Someone crosses your path, and suddenly, out of the blue, you're connected at a level impossible to describe. kind of like when you know someone and you're like, you don't know, but they're so familiar to you. You bump into people on the
Right.
street, right?
Like, where do I know that person from?
Yeah. And then you try to figure it out and you just can't
Mhm.
figure it out,
Mhm.
because you know them from somewhere other than here.
Mm.
Yeah. So it says that feeling marks a moment in time etched indelibly into your soul. Someone has entered your life who will be instrumental in your journey, so pay attention. Two hearts are calling to each other to begin a new alchemical process. This is also a sign that your intuition about the person you care about is correct. Trust your heart to lead you. Magic is about to happen. Now, it doesn't have to be a romantic relationship. It could be any kind of relationship. It could
Sure.
be business. It could be friendship. It could be anything.
Could be family.
Family, yeah. It could be
Yeah.
with an animal. It could be any kind of a connection.
Yeah.
And then there's a prosperity message. Let's read the prosperity
Oh, okay.
message.
I always like that.
So this one says, this is a time when your hunches will pay large dividends if you listen to them. Take the risk and act. Within you, there's hold on, what is within you? There is an oracular conscious, a higher and deeper knowing that transcends the machinations of the smaller thinking mind. So the oracle within, right?
Hmm.
At a deep level of your intuitive senses, you have an access point to the genius of the collective, the energies of all the thinkers and creators, all the inventors and leaders, and all that you need in order to leap into success are available at this time to tune into. This is an act of listening intently. Past the busy mind, your genius awaits.
So what they're
Yeah.
talking about there is something that we really try to develop as a habit on a regular basis, but they're saying now is a particularly good time to do it, and that is when you get something, even though it doesn't make any sense, just keep going with it because you're getting really, really good signals and really good advice. Just
You
go.
know what? You know, I'm sure you know what's his name, Joe Vitale.
Oh yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. So I love all the work that he does.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, he always says, "Money like speed, money like
Yes.
speed," because
Hmm.
ideas come in, but they
Hmm.
don't. It doesn't mean it comes into only you. That idea exists in the collective.
Hmm.
Somebody's going to
Okay.
snatch it up and take it and run with it.
Hmm.
And it's proven over and over again. I know my husband, my son, they're like, that's the design I had for an engine, but I didn't know how to ever get it done. You
Right.
um, there's something my son, I saw an ad for some kind of like a flying motorcycle kind of thing that can go airborne. And my son's been working on a design like that for a while. And I'm like, oh my God, Steele, they're doing it. Somebody's doing it. So, he's got to get to that point where he can act on it and start producing things that come to him because he can pick up on ideas like this. And so can my
Yeah.
husband. Yeah.
It reminds me of there was a video I saw of Jack Canfield, who was the author of the Chicken Soup for the Soul series and also one of the presenters in The Secret.
Yeah.
And in this video, he's giving a presentation to an audience, um, talking about some general success principles and that kind of thing. And at one point, he reaches into his pocket and he pulls out a $50 bill and he holds it up in the air and he says, "I have a $50 bill here for someone who's willing to claim it." And he just stands there. And then finally, after about 20 seconds, the young woman stands up from the audience, walks over, grabs it out of his hand, and walks back to his seat.
Yeah.
And his point was she was ready at that moment to take advantage of this idea that came to her that kind of came out of the blue, and she wasn't sure what to make of it necessarily, but she just went with it. She just did it.
Right.
And she
Right.
ended up with a $50 bill.
Yeah, I've seen that a few times where people do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, some people call that taking advantage of the opportunity when it comes. That's a good way to look at it. But I think
I,
now I've become more receptive to the idea that it's really being aware and um, responding to without getting all tied up about how stuff is going to work and so forth, responding to those impulses that come. Because that's something I was never really good at, and now I'm learning to do that. And there's a lot to that. There's a lot of value in just going. You get a hunch, you get an impulse like that, you just go with it and see where it goes. And
it's
if it
kind of
doesn't
like
go anywhere, it's okay.
it's like last week we talked about inspiration, inspire to me in
Inspire.
spirit, not just to me, to like anybody in the spiritual realm.
Hmm.
Um, but another part of that is too like a lot of people probably would have wanted to go up there, but they have those other programs like, why me? You know, you can't just go
Yeah.
and do all that stuff that keeps them from going. Where
Right.
this woman was like, why not me? Okay, boom.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, she didn't let all that subconscious programming get in the way. She just went with the impulse. Done.
he's holding it there. Someone's supposed to come and get it.
He was going to hold it there until somebody figured it out too. You know
Yeah,
that,
yeah. That's
which is
fun.
fun. That is fun.
Yep.
Yeah. Nasha's been typing some more stuff. She was able to relate to the card. What we were talking about earlier. She says it reminds me of every single time of what Carlos said when he said this stuff really works. Remember when he got that audition and there was
Oh,
like two or three
Carlos.
auditions in a row. Yeah, Carlos,
Yeah,
Carlos. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I remember. I'll never forget when I got that text message. This stuff really works. He was so excited.
You know what? I think even with these cards that came in, I would actually invite people to start paying attention more to when something comes in, and they don't have to even know why, but they get a
Mm.
nudge because a lot of people don't realize how much they do have a team of spirit working with them to
You hear about it.
help them do they came here to do in this lifetime.
Hmm.
Um, yeah,
It's a hard concept, especially early on when, like me, where I really didn't have any physical feeling of it. I didn't have any sense of it. So, I mean, people had told me, well, you have all these spirit guides, and sometimes there's a couple of them, sometimes there's 10 or 12 of them, and there could be any number, and they're all helping you and all this. And on in a theoretical basis, it sounds okay. Yeah, great. But practically, what the heck do I do with that? I can't find them. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to reach them. I don't know how to touch them. I don't know how to talk to them. And so it just remains theoretical. But like you say, after a time, if you start just trusting that stuff that comes in and being aware of it and learning to go with it, at the very least, you get some really interesting results. And
yeah.
those interesting results, they kind of start to pile up after a while. So now I've gotten to the point where I can actually say something I couldn't have said 9 months ago. 9 months ago, I would have had trouble saying, well, I followed this hunch and I wasn't sure where it was going to go, but it was fun to follow. At the time, I would have said, I don't really get hunches.
Yeah, so I think for you, it was just this little bit of a something had to click with you about the actual word energy.
Yeah, yeah. Well, there
Yeah,
was a lot of disconnect in my mind at the time, and
yeah,
I'm still kind of filling that gap a little bit, but it's improving a lot.
right. But I think something cleared around that allowed this to open to where you can start sensing and feeling it in different ways,
Yes, that
right?
helps a lot. When you can physically feel something, that helps. That really reinforces this stuff is real. This is actually going on. Now, I can't say I've actually felt like, okay, I've reached out and I can tell there's a spirit guide there. I can't do that yet. I haven't gotten there. But I can kind of foresee that coming at some point. At some point, I'm going to make that connection and say, oh, wow, that was a being. What is that?
Well, one way that might help, and I'm thinking of one particular client that I have who this person actually built one of the top 50 Facebook group pages, the most active,
Oh, wow.
biggest Facebook, one of 50 in all of Facebook,
Yeah,
right? So I'm
yeah.
like, well, how did you do that? And she's like, yeah, I don't know, I didn't really do much, right? So I'm like, and like when I work with her, I feel like she's got this team behind her. I'm like, you have no clue how much help you have in spirit. Like, think about it. How did it happen? Did you have to do anything particular? And
Hmm.
she's like, I don't know. So for her, it was learning how to pretty much to start to acknowledge when things just come and you
Hmm.
can't even explain it. And you're like, oh, okay, well, maybe I had some help doing that. Maybe I have some guidance. Maybe so after a while, you start to, at least now, she's like, I can see it now. I'm like, how
Hmm.
many times do you know something without knowing how you know it? Can you think of any time that that's happened? She's like, yeah, I
Hmm.
think that happens like every day. I'm like, yes.
Hmm.
But she didn't know this because it's not in her world. In fact,
Hmm.
her world is there's very much of two different types of religious backgrounds that kind of clash a bit, right? So
Hmm.
like this really isn't a part of any of that.
Yeah.
So it made it harder for her to actually see what this was. But as I can help her to sense how things were coming,
Hmm.
or to even just see when something happens and just stop for a moment and just feel your way with it, where you can see how, um, you know, I mean, I can't even find the words for it either, how you can feel how it was totally given to you in some way. It's like you didn't have to think hard, you didn't have to figure it out, it just was there. How
Hmm.
does it just get there?
Yeah.
Besides her, maybe, and she doesn't, she actually had a lot of anxiety, so it's not like she felt like she was on high vibration all the time. She
Hmm.
wasn't in a high vibration all the time because she had a lot of fear and anxiety.
Hmm.
Yet all this stuff was happening for her, and now that she's acknowledging that she has this support, things are happening even faster.
It's an interesting point because we do see comments, people posting and so forth, asking the question, well, how long does it take to manifest things, and why is it taking so long, and when's mine going to happen? And they feel like, well, nothing's really, really happening. So it kind of raises the question: is this a case of they just aren't noticing, or is the stuff happening and it's happening not the way they didn't have in mind, or is it really just not happening because they managed to block it entirely? Because you just described a person who, by most measures, would be blocking. She was not at a high vibration, but apparently not blocking so much that she was keeping stuff from coming in. Quite to the contrary, stuff was coming in like crazy.
Right. And now
So
things are
well, that's
happening
where the
even.
spirit group idea comes into mind, right? That's the idea that we have these people supporting us, these non-physical beings supporting us and providing that. That actually helps to improve the explanation that we deal with, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is the person who I'm like, have you ever thought of coaching? Do some coaching with people in your group. You can have a whole other business with. And she's like, oh, I kind of thought about it before. I'm like, well, you could probably really do well with that. Then she comes in the
Mm.
next week. She's got a coaching client already. She didn't even try to make it happen, right?
Yep.
So I'm like, oh my God, I want to catch what you've got. I mean,
Yeah, right.
this is great. So, but the thing is, she's opening up to it and understanding more, and actually now consciously being able to feel her way and connect to the energy that's supporting her,
Hmm.
right? To where she can acknowledge now and be grateful for those things that just pop in. So now she has more of this two-way dialogue going on. She's got a great team around her,
Mm.
but now she's have more in flow and communication with them.
I gotta ask you too. You
And
don't
it's
have.
not like she feels them the way I feel them. Uh-oh, I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
I
No,
don't
now I
know
hear you. Now I hear you. Can
what
you hear me?
happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Whoops. It just totally went away. You were talking. I'm like, I can't hear a word. I can't hear a word.
All I can say is we have amazing effect on electronics when we do this Friday afternoon show. It's just incredible
Yes.
what happens. So we
Um,
go with we roll with
well,
the punches.
I don't know what you were talking about.
That's all right. I'm not sure that I knew either, to be honest. So I won't even try to go back to it because
Okay.
I think I lost half of the thought anyway.
All right.
Um,
But so anyway, it's being so what I guess what's coming up today, what maybe is the message to get out to whoever's listening, is to start paying attention more to when things just kind of show up, when you kind of know something without knowing, right? Uh, or even like I have this woman I'm working with now, just to sense when she feels a shift in energy around her, even though she can't explain it and nobody else will know it. So you just opening up your senses to be able to feel, see, know with that sixth sense, not with the five that you're used to.
hmm
Yeah.
And that takes some doing. I mean, perfectly honest, just because oh, I know what the question was. Well, yeah, this kind of does tie in. I remember what the question I was raising with you was. I was asking about this woman and her group, and I'm not asking you to tell me anything specific about it, but do you remember anything about how she ended up starting it? And I guess what I'm driving at is I have a belief that when people have amazing results, they're pursuing a passion. Was she pursuing a passion when she had founded this group, and was that passion being played out in her group?
I would say she wasn't, I don't think she felt a passion pushing her to do it. It was
Mm-hmm.
just kind of an offshoot of something she already kind of did.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't that at all
Yes.
then.
Not really. That's why she didn't, that's why it felt to her like she didn't really do anything to make it come about. It just came about on her, on its own. It's
She
almost
was
like
just
she
a
was a
spark of.
vessel to put
Yeah.
this into play, to
Mm-hmm.
bring these groups together in some way.
Yeah.
It was like bigger than her. It was
Mm-hmm.
beyond her. I'd
Mm-hmm.
kind of have to say, in some, it is her, but it was beyond. It was bigger than her because she's got this freaking awesome team behind her. I'm telling you.
I mean, clearly she let it through. She had somehow managed to remove resistance in a large way that allowed this stuff to come in, so that even her slightest desires were manifesting in this group, so to speak.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think she was unconsciously following the energy.
hmm
But now she's becoming more conscious of it since she's been
hmm
working with me
Right.
to see it and now actually work with it in a different way. I mean, she's got so many things happening that are just happening,
hmm
um, and a lot of different shifts that, you know, and it's like the anxiety is gone, you know? Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's interesting.
Well, it makes
But anyway,
sense. I mean,
but I was
anxiety is
trying
such
to,
a negative. Anxiety is such a negative feeling that if you had it, you would be blocking stuff. So it certainly makes sense that she had no anxiety going on. That fits.
no, no, she did have anxiety.
Oh, she did.
Oh yeah, big time.
Oh,
She
okay.
does,
Well, then throw out the window everything I just said, because that apparently isn't it either.
she doesn't have it anymore since she's been working with me.
Yeah,
But when
yeah,
she
okay, I
came
got
to
it.
me, she already had this whole thing in play.
Right.
And she would still, you know, have this anxiety. Even as we were started working, she would still have bits and pieces, but I gave her ways of working with it. We did lots of clearing to
hmm
remove what was in there, creating all of that. Um, but I think the biggest message, I think, any of these cards or anything we're talking about for everyone out there listening is to start to pay attention to more than what you normally notice. And maybe a way to do that is just to, it's like meditation. You just disconnect from everything, right? But you can go out in nature outside on your back deck and kind of disconnect from all the work you're doing on your computer, from this, that, the other thing, and just be. If you
hmm
didn't want to like meditate, just be and just listen and feel. I mean, I think I told you about how I would just stare off into the bushes and I would see like the ground moving. Did I ever tell you those things?
The ground moving? No, I don't remember that one.
All right. So maybe you want to try this yourself.
Okay.
I would sit on my deck and I could do it anywhere, anytime. It just came to me. But it's kind of like a form of meditation. But I would just stare out into the trees out in the back of my yard. And as I, you know, like just when, you know, you look at those pictures that have the dots, and if you stare at it with a soft gaze, it forms
Yeah, yeah.
into a
Mhm.
picture. So it's
Right,
kind
right.
of like that kind of, I mean, that's how you can see auras too. If you get that kind of soft gaze and look a little bit past the person, you can usually see their aura.
Yeah,
So
it's
it's
soft
kind of
filter.
like staring out with a very soft kind of a gaze. And what happened for me, what happens for me is not only, well, I'll see movement. It's almost like the ground is breathing. I'll just see this movement, right? This flow, like, you know, everything's flowing. And also, I'll see it, it starts to become a little bit more like a negative. Like, I got these pronounced colors and getting kind of pixelated, right? So it's like seeing reality through a different lens. And then many times I'll have this glow of light kind of pulse out. So I've had this glow of light take on the color of green many times and just pulsing. And one time it actually formed like a heart,
Oh my.
and you know, and it just softened, and it's pretty cool. I did a video a long time about it. I don't think anybody ever paid attention to it. I should probably do another one in a different way now that I know more about creating videos.
Mm.
Um, yeah, but you just kind of stare off, and you can let that be your meditation. It's not closing your eyes. It's eyes open, just staring off. And I think it's easier when you're staring off into trees or some kind of nature of some sort, right? Not like staring out at three different houses and a bunch of cars going by, like nothing like that. Like you kind of just looking out into some maybe something more serene. Um, it's probably easier because there's not a whole lot of movement there for you to just focus in and then see what happens. You got to do it this week, Walt. Let me know next week if you have any success with this.
Well, I've got a question actually along this line. You kind of made me think about it because I have I've been diagnosed with macular degeneration in my left eye. So it basically means straight forward in my left eye I can't see. Now my left eye has never been strong anyway. I've always been right eye dominant, so it doesn't really affect me a whole lot. Makes me a little bit nervous because now I'm down to one eye, but I try to stay positive about that. But anyway, what does happen if I just focus through that eye and focus on what's there, instead of seeing people or events or shapes or whatever like that, I see kind of like a kaleidoscope. You know how a kaleidoscope, you turn the kaleidoscope and
Yeah,
you get this image of pictures and designs going off in all directions.
yeah, yeah.
It's kind of like that. That's what I see when I focus on my left eye. Now, most of the time, I don't like to do that because I want to see what's going on in the real world. So I stick with my right eye dominant approach to looking at things. But as you were talking there, and you were describing how you get the ground moving and you were getting the light and all that, that's very similar to what I see when I'm looking through that left eye. I mean,
So maybe,
there's a lot of motion, there's a lot of glow, there's kaleidoscopic effect, there's all this stuff going on.
okay. So why don't you allow that eye to look with you and do this together, both eyes?
And so I'm not sure what to do with that though, because it gets confusing. Because my right eye is seeing, normal physical objects in color and shape and all that kind of thing, and my left eye is seeing this kaleidoscope, and it's jarring to the brain. The brain has trouble handling both of them.
Well, but maybe if you sat down with the intention of, I'm just going to let my eyes be, and whatever I see, I see. It doesn't have to make sense. If
Okay.
it feels uncomfortable, then don't do it.
Okay.
But if you can allow yourself to not have to make sense of what you're seeing, so you're just kind of bypassing the mental chatter, just like meditation, and you're just going to
Hmm.
be there with whatever's there.
Hmm.
Try it. Unless it makes you like really feel freaked out in some way, then
Yeah.
stop.
Yeah.
Then
Right.
stop. But that might be interesting. And then if that freaks you out, then maybe cover that one, maybe put something over it so you don't have to see out of it at all. And
But
then
you know
do
what? That
one
that, that doesn't work though. Because I've tried doing stuff like that, and I'm finding that this this pattern, this behavior that happens, and by the way, this is apparently fairly common with people who have the macular degeneration condition. The pattern will show up regardless of whether I close my eye, regardless of whether I cover it. It will always still be there because the the amount of attention that eye can give doesn't seem to waver. It isn't like closing the eye will turn it off. It's always there. So you see it with your eye closed, you see it with your eye open, you see it at all times. You can't get away from it. And
uh,
literally, it becomes from a perspective of just trying to deal with everyday reality, it becomes kind of like a way of testing you. Can I block my paying attention to that so I can handle the real reality I'm dealing with? And now we're saying, okay, let's sit down and let go of that for a bit, and let's see if I can just go with whatever's coming to the eye there. So it's kind of like you're exercising your muscle by doing this, and now you're exercising the other muscle by doing that. You're doing both kinds of exercises.
yeah. Well, what if it were possible that by doing that and allowing both eyes to just be without feeling like you're cutting one off and focusing on the other one, maybe that helps with some healing for you too. I don't know, but
That could be. I
it's
don't
worth
know.
an experiment, don't you think?
It is worth an experiment. I'm still not 100% sure what to do for the experiment, but
Oh, you just stare. Just stare out into the woods. What is your
okay.
what is your yard like? Do you have trees in the back or go to a
Well, the
park?
view, the view, the view I have right now is basically a parking lot, so I'd have to go outside of the home and go someplace. But I could do that. That's not too far.
Well, past the parking lot, are there trees or just
No
buildings?
more, just more apartments.
Oh,
It doesn't. There's not a real pretty view out this way.
no, it's getting nicer out. Maybe you just go to a park and just stare off into the
Yeah,
trees. Yeah,
yeah.
and
Well, we've
just
got
let
one of
yourself.
those. We got one of those rails to trail paths, like within walking distance, just over the border of the property that we're on. So, yeah,
Well,
real
maybe
close.
maybe your wife would like to try it too, and you just find a bench and you guys just kind of let yourself stare out and see. It'd be like Jerry and Esther when they were sitting back to back trying to meditate. when they're in the beginning, when they were first
Oh, at the
discovering
very
meditation.
beginning?
Yeah, they did it
Yeah.
together,
They
and
did do
she
it
wanted
together. I
to
don't
do
think they're
more.
back to back, but yeah. Yeah, but
I
they were
remember that.
definitely, yeah.
They kind of sat together,
And she
and
loved it. They did it for, I guess they set an egg timer for 15 minutes, and the 15 minutes were up like that. And she says, "Can we do it again?"
yeah. So anyway, it might be fun if the two of you out there, and you're like, okay, let's just stare off into nothing and let our eyes get soft, like we're looking at one of those pictures that's supposed to bring a picture out, and just that's all it is. Like, and I'm looking, I can see trees outside that window, so I'm just kind of looking at them without looking at them, and and you're just letting everything just be with both eyes. Now,
Mhm.
sometimes when you blink, it kind of brings you out of it, but you'll
Mhm.
find your way with that to where you can blink and still hold the soft look, and
I don't think
then
that's actually a problem, believe it or not.
things will, and then you'll just see what happens. It might be totally different for you,
Hmm.
but it is
It's just
very
like,
relaxing.
well, that's good. I
It's
like
like
relaxing.
meditation. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, so that makes it worth trying for sure. I mean, as I'm sitting here talking to you about this, just because we're focusing on what I see with my left eye, I'm allowing more of that information to come in anyway, just part of that. And when you at one point you were describing how things, I think you said they kind of get fuzzy or soft. I can't remember
Yeah.
exactly how you said it, but and while you were saying that, your outline for me in the video started to get soft. I mean, the
All
my
right.
eye was doing that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Play with that. It's fun.
hmm, yeah, I will. That's interesting.
I think my husband was able to do it, but I don't think he had as much of an experience as I had with it. But he didn't do it that many times either. So.
Yeah, I think I'll try that one on my own for a bit. I'm not sure that I want to try to get Louise to do that right now because she's dealing with other stuff. Energy work. Ooh, where'd
Yeah.
that card come from?
This is the Angels Oracle card, daily guidance from the
Okay.
angels. And so let's see what it says for
Well, it's
energy.
appropriate because I mean we're talking about energy work here, so that's appropriate.
So let's see what it wants to say.
All right.
It says life can be electrifying because its very essence is energy. Your body is a remarkable energy field that will positively respond to loving treatment. Your hands and heart are activated to give healing energy to your loved ones and to your clients. So it says you receive this card because the angels say you would benefit from energy work such as Reiki or Qigong. You can find a qualified practitioner by contacting your local metaphysical or holistic health center. The angels suggest that you initiate a session where you receive an energy healing treatment. This card can also signify the angel's message that your life purpose involves giving energy healing work to others. If you have training in this respect, or if you've been guided to seek such training, this card is a sign that you would excel in this area. So additional meanings for this card, it says, clear the energy of your home and other environments. You're very sensitive to energy, so regularly clear yourself in any energy you may have absorbed. Shield yourself by visualizing yourself surrounded in a protective white and purple light. Take courses on energy healing. So, I don't know.
Talking about clearing energy that you may have absorbed, talk about that for a moment. Like what are some of the easiest things that any of us can do to just clear energy that we may have absorbed that could be getting in the way or whatever?
That's the video I put out last week. I actually didn't do one this week because I was sick, and maybe I'll shoot a video after this call. But um, the easiest thing you can do is when you find sometimes that your energy just shifted and you're like, you don't really even know why, but all of a
Hmm.
sudden now you feel like crap.
Hmm.
Just ask yourself, is this my energy?
Mm.
And see what you feel. You might feel a yes or you might feel a no. No, no. Okay. And then you can say, okay, where was I earlier today? Who was I talking to? What was I doing? And like, oh yeah, so and so called me with this problem, blah, blah, blah. You'll take their energy on. Like it's I'll take on my parents' energy like this. Like
Hmm.
a lot of times I'll have to clear myself right after with something that might be going on with them because I'll find myself then carrying it too. Um,
Yeah.
so
Well, when I was talking earlier about how I had gotten kind of out of alignment and I had to slow myself down and so forth, that is exactly what had happened. I mean, I didn't think of it in terms of taking on somebody else's energy, but that's what I was doing. I was taking on the energy of a number of different people.
Yeah,
and in every case, they were themselves out of alignment, and
right,
I was feeling it. Yeah.
right. So so it just means you're empathic. You're an empathic person. I think we all are to some degree, some more than others. People
Hmm.
in that work with energy and that are healers are usually very empathic. We can really feel and sense things.
Hmm.
You're also opening up this energetic muscle to feeling energy.
Right.
Now here you are getting bombarded with energy. Like, okay, I opened it up, and now what happens? It's freaking me out.
Stop it!
So,
Stop it!
so number one, when you say, is this mine or someone? If it's yours, okay, maybe there's some work you got to do around yourself, right? And then you
Hmm.
can get someone like me or whatever to clear it. Do a meditation, it'll help.
Hmm.
Um, but if it's someone else's energy, you can basically, the easiest way I like to do that with someone else's energy. There's a couple of things. Okay, one is you can just sit quietly and just breathe, like slow, deep, easy breaths. It can be like a count of six in, holding it at the top for maybe 6 seconds, letting it out slowly for 6 seconds, holding it again for six, maybe do 3 loops of that, and then just get into your regular breathing mode, right? So now
Hmm.
you've calmed your whole system, right? And then you can just ask. Okay, so then maybe visualize light coming in, this healing energy, this light coming in, and it's just washing away and clearing out any of the energy you picked up from other people, going out through the bottoms of your feet down into the earth to be transformed back to pure love. So it's a visual, but as you're doing it, I mean, everything's energy. You're directing the energy to release this energy that you've taken on, giving it back to the earth to transform it. Now, another thing I like to do is then really fill up my bubble of fill yourself up with light. Maybe you can picture you have, and I do this in meditations. I don't know if we've done this before, like this tube of light, and it fills
Hmm.
up with so much light, it starts to move out into all of your cells, and then it starts to move out into your whole aura, maybe 20, 30 feet above, below, all around you, right? Your whole energy field, just building it with this beautiful light.
Okay.
This is the protection part. And then you can just ask for, or just, maybe you can tell, whatever, you just let the universe, spirit know that you're putting this protective shield around your bubble. You're holding your boundaries to yourself, your energy. So I either put a silver lining, it reflects away anything that's not love, or the mesh, I might have told you this before, like the knights wear, that metal mesh fabric,
Yep.
but it's metal. So
Right.
it's like breaks on negative energy. Only positive energy can come through here. Only love comes through. So that's two things you can do. But when you're doing that breathing, before you even build your bubble and put your protection on, you just pretty much ask that as you're breathing in this light, you're releasing any energy you've taken on from other people, and that on the out breath it goes out, and on the in breath, you're calling back the energy you scattered out and about. You can imagine you got this magnet in the middle of your forehead and you're just calling back your own energy, filling yourself up with your energy. So
Okay.
you're filling yourself with yours, you're breathing away any lower energies, you're letting the light wash it out and down into the earth. Like there's so many ways you can make up your own way to do it, but it's really a visual with intention and
Hmm.
calling in spirit to assist you in doing it. It works every time. You can really clear your energy just by doing that simple thing.
That's good that it's that simple because that way I'm more likely to remember it and I'm more likely to do it. If it got complex, I probably wouldn't do it as much. So I'm glad it's
Yeah,
simple.
you can make it as simple as you like. You so the more you do it, you just like I'll do sometimes a longer version of bringing the light in and all that, or sometimes,
Uh-huh.
and I like to do it in the shower because I like to just clear that energy. A lot
Mm.
of times I'll just say, or to put the bubble of light around, I'll just say bubble on, bubble
Okay.
on. I built my bubble so many times, I know what it is, so I'm just
Yeah.
my bubble's on. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Star Trek.
yeah. So you make it your own way. I mean, it should be your own way.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's true. It's very true. I'm not seeing any real new comments over here from the live stream audience. Just the last one was Nasha saying that her life seems totally magical. I love that.
Great.
That's real. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. Let's see. Well, we've got about I think 8 or 9, 10 minutes left, something like that. What do we do with our last 10 minutes? Um, Well, let's see. We're just talking about clearing energy. After you clear energy, there are a lot of ways you can go, a lot of things you can do. Is there a practice that maybe we should be developing on a regular basis? Okay, I've cleared some energy. Take advantage of that space to do X. Is there an X to do that we should consider doing on a regular basis?
Mm, I would say that if you feel your energy dipping, because it's always about maintaining a high vibration, right? This is what this
Hmm.
course I built was all about, this little mini course. I'm going to do an extended, bigger course around that. But um, you just want to, is there something you should do when you do that? Just hold that high vibration. To go about
Just
doing your stuff because you're
okay.
now. It's like you're returning back to you, right? You're letting
Hmm.
go of any energy could have been yours or somebody else's, right? You can always ask. It's easier to let go of somebody else's energy than yours because sometimes you got to figure out, okay, well, what is this energy teaching me? What is it that I need to learn? Blah 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 blah. Yeah. Um, but I would say no, just be, because then you're more of your truest self, that high vibration, which is hopefully love, right? Because we are love. That's what we are. That's the energy that heals everything. That's what we're all connected to.
Hmm.
Um,
So I guess part of it is recognizing that once we've done that clearing, kind of taking stock and asking myself, well, you did this in order to get into that higher vibration place. A higher vibration place is a better feeling place. Do you feel better? Yes or no? If you're feeling better, okay, what do you want to do with it? If you're not, maybe do it again or another process to help get into that high
yeah.
vibration place.
Or just make it a daily habit that you're going to do this, maybe as soon as you get up out of, I like to do it in the shower, but as soon you can do it as soon as you get up out of bed and before you even get out of bed, just like, okay, I'm going to
Mhm.
call in the light, clear my energy. It's segment intended, right? Before you
Yeah.
go to bed, you set the energy of what you want, right? I like to ask my guides to teach me whatever I need to know next, like put me in night school, and then and so you can set the intention to wake up feeling good, right? So it's all setting the intention, but I do like to do that energy clearing. Usually, I like to do it in the morning in the shower.
I like
But you
that
can do it
term,
before
night
you
school.
can do it before you. What's that?
I like that term, night school. I think it's a good
Yeah.
term. What
Well,
you're really describing there is the process of inserting ideas into the subconscious mind and then letting your mind work on that overnight.
yep.
Cool. It's a cool idea.
I just lost you, Walt. I can't see you.
Yeah, I
No.
see that. I actually got a reading this time saying that my video disappeared, so I'll try to recover it here.
Yeah, because it says no one's sharing their video.
Yeah, well,
That's
sometimes
all
it
right.
lies. It's the
Um,
energy. The energy does, and this only happens on our show, by the way.
yeah, so that's
I mean,
fun, right?
well, no, that's not entirely true. That's not entirely true. I did have one other show this week where it did happen once, but for the most part, it happens on this show, which is wild. And it
Yeah,
almost happens every week.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah,
crazy.
yeah. I think it's spirit playing with us, saying, "You want to know about energy? Watch. Zip.
Yep. Pay attention.
Doing this." Yeah. So
There,
you
that
know what?
video should be back now.
It's like yeah, it is. If you can get into that childlike mind of that wonder and that excitement, I mean, that's what true energy. Like we're born knowing this, and then of course, everything else, all the programming comes in, the experience and lessons that you were meant to learn and all of that, right?
Hmm.
But those little kids, they're talking to spirit all the time. I mean, you could probably think back, or family members where they're like, the 2-year-old's like, yeah, I'm talking to grandma. Who? What? You know? Or my friend Lucy. Like, they think they have how
The
cute she
imaginary
has an
friend.
imaginary friend. Yeah,
Right,
but
right.
it's spirit.
Hmm.
I remember when my grandmother passed, one of my cousin's kids, she was like 3 or 4. She goes, how come Nana's always in our living room? She's like, what do you mean? Yeah, she sits like that chair over there. That's the one she sits on. The little girl doesn't know to make up anything. She's asking a question. Why is
Hmm.
Nana always in our living room?
Hmm.
So they
Hmm.
can see because it hasn't been they haven't been deprogrammed completely, right? Because we forget when we come here, right? But
Hmm.
there's some aspects of us that we're still very tuned in.
Well,
I
it's
mean, I have
funny you say that. Oh, go ahead. I'll tell your story.
one of my nieces would say in California, she would tell her parents, my other parents live like a couple of blocks down there. Like, oh, your other parents? Yeah, my other parents, right? they never, and they were aware of energy and stuff. Like they never squashed her when she said that. Like, oh, okay,
Hmm. Hmm.
that's nice.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't really recall when I was very young having that kind of spiritual connection. I recall it just kind of in a general sense of if it was a good feeling time. But what I do recall more clearly was getting into ages 6, 7, 8, 9, somewhere in that range, and feeling like the world had become empty. I don't know
Oh,
how else to
really?
describe that. Yeah. And
Like
I now
feeling
interpret
like,
that and understand that to mean I was noticing that I had cut off from that connection. That's the way I understand
right.
it now.
So, so I'm not really. I don't remember all the psychology things I've learned. For me, I told you, I absorb it. It does. I don't retain it in my brain.
Right,
But
right.
someone can look it up if they want. It's around the ages of 7 and 8, usually, that we start to realize the universe doesn't evolve around us. There's
Hmm.
more to it.
Hmm.
Because prior to that, you think everything evolves around you. We
Yeah,
don't
right.
consciously know we think that, but they actually do think that.
Hmm.
These little ones, right? They're
Hmm.
so in tune that they are a part of everything.
Right.
So they are everything.
Yeah.
But then when you get a little older, and I know for me, like a lot of things, when I track back different like programs I started running, it was like the eight for me, the age of 8. There, I cleared a lot of stuff around the age of 8.
Mm.
Yeah. So when I heard that in one of my classes, my energy mastery class, I'm like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I remember when I go back to stuff, it's always like age 7 or 8 when
Hmm.
something happened where I was like thrown off.
Yeah, I imagine that if I did that same kind of work, I'd probably dredge up the same kind of stuff because, like I said, that's the one feeling I remember clearly. I remember feeling like the world had been emptied out of something. I couldn't have told you what it was, but it was
Yeah.
like there was this gap, there was this vacuum that didn't seem like it had been there before, and I didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
And I've never talked about it before. I mean, that never came up. Oh, geez, I want to tell about tell you about this vacuum that's been going on in my head. No, I mean, it just never even came up.
Yeah.
Oh, did our electronics just start going bonkers again?
No, I just had all these alerts go off.
Oh, I heard like a brrr kind of a
Yeah,
sound,
yeah,
so
yeah. That was
I'm getting used
these
to it.
little. I had like 6 things pop up at one time.
Yeah, we do tend to fry the electronics on the show.
All
That's fun. That's
right.
interesting, though. I mean, that's suggesting to me the fact that I'm even remembering that, first of all, and not remembering it from the perspective of telling you about it in a conversation, telling the world about it actually in the podcast, suggests to me that maybe I'm reaching a point where I'm going to start exploring the kind of thing you were exploring. Changes that happened in my early part of life and kind of revisiting all that stuff. Maybe that's where I'm going. It's not something I'm intending. It's just kind of occurring to me.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll
Yeah.
find out.
I don't know.
Hey, we got a couple minutes left. I want to make sure I get the messages in because I keep skipping them, and I got to make sure I do them every show. But if you're not yet a subscriber to the podcast, please become one. Really easy to do. Just go to the homepage of the website, loatoday.net, and when you get to that page, right near the top of the page, you'll see a great big graphic link with text in it that says this is the thing to press for your particular device. It's already programmed for your device, and then you just click it and walk through the steps, and you'll be a subscriber. Very simple. And then once you're subscribed, make sure that you share the fact that you're subscribing on social media so that other people can get their daily doses of happy. And oh, and before we leave, I want you to tell people about your practices too. How do they reach out to Linda Armstrong? Maybe they need to get something cleared. Maybe they just need a little support because they're running one of the top 50 groups on Facebook, whatever it is. But how do they reach out to you?
Just go to my website, lovemylife.coach. You find everything about me is there. Lots of pages, good stuff.
All right, good thing.
Yeah.
Well, this is a good way to wind down the week. We talked earlier about how the week had been a little bit frenetic for me, a little bit crazy. I like the things we do on this show because I always feel very relaxed, very centered, and that's what I'm feeling now. So thank you for helping
Yeah.
me to feel centered just by doing a show. It's great.
You're welcome. Yeah.
Have a great weekend. Thanks to our live stream listeners, and thank you to our podcast listeners as well. We'll see you all next time here on LOA Today. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye, everybody. No music? I don't hear any music.
It's playing.
Really? It'd be interesting to see if it's on the replay.
It's happened a few times this week. I don't know why that is.